over the course of the offseason, adding to the outfield was something we wanted to do. Feel really good about the outfielders that we have here. But if there was a specific skill set we were looking to add, it probably would be premium defender power element. And really most of it, if you look, as we thought about the really good Pirates teams at PNC, I think most of them have had that's like center field quality defender, more than one of them to handle center and left at PNC. It's a tricky outfield alignment if we think about good teams and other ballparks around the league that have those big spaces and kind of unique configurations. Always felt like having like more than one center fielder out there. Usually those, the good teams have that. So that was something that we kind of been circling in our minds all off season and been talking to different targets about. So we're hopeful that we've been able to do something about that.
Will that bump Jack to right more often than not? I'm sure he
So
can still play center.
If again, if what's been reported happens, we will. I will again defer to Shelty on exactly how the deployment works. We'd be excited to add, a really quality defender to our outfield mix. This is very much see this as additive and not, taking anything away from anybody, but hopefully just improves our overall team.
Can we talk about Germán or no?
Yeah.
Okay. What went into adding him?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the offseason, no secret, we identified pitching generally, but starting pitching specifically as an area of need and an area we wanted to add to. We cast a really wide net, spent time on just about every free agent imaginable, trade targets, etc. Domingo was on that list, that long list at the beginning of the offseason based on his ability, based on what he has done on the field for the Yankees, on his qualities as a pitcher. We understood that in his particular case, it was going to require a lot of time and effort on our part to better understand what's happened in his past and where he was currently, where he himself was currently, and where he is with his family currently, and so we decided to do that work. And the more work we did, the more we understood. For much of the off season, it just meant that we had more work to do. Eventually, more recently, we got to the point where we felt like we had satisfied two questions, basically. One, that we understood more clearly everything that has happened, including the incident in 2019 that led to his domestic violence suspension, and also more recently the incident last summer that ultimately led to his release. That we got to a point where we felt like we were more clear on everything that had happened in the past, and also more clear on the work that he has and is doing to grow, and that he's doing with his family to grow from that. And so, we felt like over time, and it took a lot of time, but over time we were able to get more clear on those questions. And then the second question became, is he deserving of a chance with the Pirates, and are we the right organization to partner with him? So that became the second question, and after a lot of discussion internally and deliberation, and a lot of feedback from a lot of inputs inside the Pirates, ultimately I made the decision to make an offer, and we were able to work out a minor league deal. So he's here as a non-roster pitcher, invite to camp. He's obviously not built up and stretched out like other pitchers are, and so that's going to take some time, and would anticipate he will then, when he's ready, report to Indy. And we're excited that he's here, and excited that about the chances he has to help us, but he'll need to earn that opportunity like any other non-registered lightweight.
What was intriguing about just what he brings from an on-field perspective?
The performance on the field in a very tough division, in big moments, he's been a good pitcher in the major leagues. We also learned through the course of our work and to understand more about him. We talked to a lot of people, teammates, coaches, front office, people that had been around him a lot, and pretty unanimously, everyone said, this guy's an extreme competitor on the field, wants to be out there in the biggest situations. And so, from that perspective, as a pitcher, he's a talented pitcher who we feel can help us on the field. Again, there was a lot of work we needed to do to understand more about what's happened off the field, and that was really that was the time that we needed this off season, and spent a lot of time at it, and lots of people were involved in it. Ultimately got to the point where we felt comfortable making an offer.
Pretty sure you just alluded to it. You don't anticipate him being, stretched out, ready to go for opening day.
I don't. No.
And then the same question for Eric Lauer. I know you've got a little more time with him here, but do you anticipate him being close to go on an opening day?
So we're still getting to know him, working with him. He's gonna be on a good schedule and get stretched out as a starter. As we probably given where the calendar is, probably going to be difficult. We had gotten to see her throw a handful of times over the off season, so I had some idea. But now that he's in camp, he'll get built up and into games, and just anticipate at some point probably the calendar works against us. But he's been a really effective major league pitcher not too recently, and we're excited he's here.
Ben, I know the Chapman signing, and there are stuff that happened in Chapman's past and Germán's past that are obviously going to be different than other players. Do you run the Germán thing past the clubhouse? Do they need to vote? Do you team leadership counsel them? How did that work in consultation with current players and accepting a player like that?
It's not a vote, but yes, we had discussion with our current veteran player group, and shared as much as I could about the detail of the work, the research we did over the course of the off season. Shared what that meant to us, where we feel he is, and if he was going to be a Pirate, what we need to do to support him and support his family going forward. So that was important that we had those conversations and answered any questions that came from that. So conversation, yes, but it wasn't a vote.
Speaking of that, the support, what do the Pirates plan to do or need to do to support?
Yeah, I feel really fortunate that in this organization we've got a lot of people who have spent their lives dedicated to finding ways to help people who need help, and specifically in this case, a lot of people who have done that with players who come from Latin American and Spanish-speaking backgrounds. So we're still working on the details of that. We actually, intentionally wanted to get 2 or 3 weeks with Domingo here in camp before we, put the final details on what those resources would be and how we would deploy them. But very confident that we've got people that can be that can form a good support structure, and certainly teammates are going to be a part of that. And that was really the gist of the conversation we had with players. It's just if he was going to be here, that they've got a role in this, and they seem willing and eager to do that.